Yes, I am filming in my pajamas. It's a thing. We have gotten to day 24, so I think I have every right to film in my PJs. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to the 24th day of the 25 days of Kitmas. Officially only one day left. Anyways, for this video, I'm going to be doing a what I regret putting in my makeup kit or what I regret buying for my makeup kit. I did do a video like this maybe about like a couple of months ago, I want to say. I will go ahead and link that video up here. If you guys did watch that video already, I'm going to be covering some of the stuff that I talked about in there, but I also, of course, wanted to have different things included in this one just so it wouldn't be super repetitive. Before I start with this, I do want to make a disclaimer. I just want to fully voice my opinions and tell you guys the reason why things did not personally work out for me as a makeup artist. All makeup artists work different ways. We all have different preferences. So I'm not doing this to tell you guys that you shouldn't buy these things because some of these things may work amazing for you guys. It kind of is all up to trial and error, but I don't want you guys to just be like, okay, well, Julie said that this isn't a good product, so I'm not going to put it in my kit. Please try things out because every single item inside of people's makeup kits are going to be extremely personal to that artist. The first thing I wanted to cover are a few foundations, and this is first talking about the MAC Studio Fix Fluid Foundation. If you guys didn't already know, I used to be a MAC makeup artist, so I have personally worked with this formulation for multiple different years now. So I bought all the MAC Studio Fix Fluids because you can shear them out, you can mix them with other things, you can do whatever you want with it. So I thought it was the most versatile foundation that MAC carried. But I did have quite a few people when I worked as a freelancer and also when I worked as a MAC makeup artist as well that actually ended up breaking out. Nobody developed rashes or anything like really drastic like that, but people did break out from those foundations that I had. And I don't know if it's some sort of ingredient inside of there or the fact that it smells like paint. And I don't want my clients to have that experience with me. I don't want them to break out from things that I put on their faces. That is why I chose personally to take it out of my kit and not use it as a foundation. Then moving on, I did talk about this foundation in my last things I regret buying for my makeup kit. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish foundation, and I do still have this for myself. I love this foundation, guys. Like, don't get me wrong. I bought about 4 different shades of this guy and put it in my kit for a little bit and hardly ever used it. I have a generally really natural clientele, meaning that they really like either sheer coverage foundation or medium foundation, and they want it to look very skin-like. And as we all know as artists by now, the more full coverage that you go and the more matte finish that it is, the more fake that it looks. So usually people do not ask me for that kind of look. I'm not a full coverage kind of glam makeup artist. Most all of the foundations that I had in the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish line went completely untouched in my kit, and I ended up having to give them away to other people. That's pretty much my reasoning why I regretted buying it specifically for my kit, but not like in general, if that makes sense. So in general, I have always been a liquid foundation person. Like, I don't really like working with creams, and I know that a lot of people are like, yeah, but if you use creams the right way, or if you use a lighter hand, or if you use it with this brush, then it'll have a really seamless finish. It's very skin-like. I understand that, but I've never been an artist personally that has had any luck with applying cream products to people. And I fell into this thing eventually where I'm like, oh, well, maybe I should carry creams just in case somebody wants this. So I ended up buying not only the Makeup Forever Cream Foundation palette, and also I bought the RCMA VK11 palette, which is this one right here. I took this out of my kit. I use it on myself, but I never like the way it looks. So that's the reason why I don't really like creams in general. Then this is the other thing last time that people got very offended about. I don't like the NARS Natural Radiant concealers. So I've tried it on myself directly with a doe foot applicator, and then I've also tried it inside of my kit hygienically too. Not only to me is the formula a little bit more drying than I would like it to be, even though it's actually supposed to be like a hydrating concealer, I can also never feel like I get enough coverage from it for some reason. The NARS Natural Radiant concealers look like this in, you know, just like a lip gloss type ish packaging. The doe foots are about this small, like they're super tiny. So I feel like every single time, since we have to depot things as a makeup artist because we can't use the applicators directly on people, I seriously have to sit there, pop the tube open, put it on a palette, and then I don't feel like I get enough product, so I go back in and then I go like this and then put it on the palette, and I have to do it probably about 3 or 4 times to get the amount of product that I need to cover a person's face, and it drives me absolutely nuts. That is my whole entire gripe with the NARS Natural Radiant Creamy concealers, and I know a bunch of people are going to come for me and be like, oh my gosh, that's my favorite concealer, and you're totally allowed to have those opinions. But yeah, that is my personal honest opinion about those concealers. Okay, next product that I want to talk about that I did not cover in my last video is the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomades. I at one point in time did have almost all of the shades of the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade, but since they are glass packaging, I decided to depot them, and maybe that was my mistake. but those formulations are so dry. And the fact that I had to keep revitalizing them with the Inglot Duraline probably once a week. They just dried out and cracked. Like, it was horrible. I didn't use them enough to make this worth my time. I did not ever get requests for a heavy defined brow or any sort of structured brow. I thought they were way too expensive for how many times I was actually using them, and I probably ended up throwing away almost all of them just because I did not use them in their shelf life. That is another product that I regret purchasing for my makeup kit. Another thing I regret purchasing for my makeup kit is liquid lipsticks. And I know a bunch of you guys are going to be like, well, if you're a bridal makeup artist, like, wouldn't you want your lipsticks to stay on the whole entire day, and wouldn't you want them to be transfer proof? Yes, but I hate liquid lipsticks, guys. There's hardly anybody who asks me for a matte lipstick anymore. And if I do need to make a lipstick matte, I will go in with a translucent powder and a brush and just pat it on over top, and it makes it a soft matte but still pretty transfer proof. So I have ways of making things customizable to my clients, but I don't necessarily need to carry liquid lipsticks for that reason. And also, I provide touch-up kits for my bridal clients, and there's no way to depot liquid lipsticks because they'll dry out the minute that they hit air. So there's really no point in me having them. So yeah, that is the reason I do not carry liquid lipsticks inside of my kit. The next thing that I will never be repurchasing for my kit unless it is requested is the heavy faux mink lashes. Keep in mind, I am a very natural bridal makeup artist, and that is how I market myself. Even if people want like very dramatic eye looks, I can stack any of my lashes that I want if somebody wants more volume. I don't see a need to actually be carrying like the actual faux mink style lashes because I never get requests to have those. I seriously carried around these 3 pairs of lashes for probably over a year without using them. So I mean, to me, it seems like a waste of money. However, if you guys are a person that does do those more dramatic makeup styles, then I would pick up the faux mink lashes from AliExpress. You can get them in bulk, and they're the most cost efficient just because you can get them at wholesale prices. They just take a little bit to ship to you, but besides that though, they are very good quality for the price of them. But yeah, my clients just never asked for those hardly, so I just don't carry them in my kit anymore. Next product I want to go into is an eye cream, and this is from Bobbi Brown. I realized that I carried this whole entire jar of this Bobbi Brown eye cream. Like, I bought the full thing. I think it's like $60 or something. If you're actually working as a makeup artist, like, you need to either depot that or put it into a separate jar because that jar was so heavy. Like, the eye cream itself was this big. It almost looked like a face moisturizer itself just because of how big the jar was. But the reason that I didn't like that is because it was way too thick and way too emollient of a base, and concealer never really mixed well on top of it. It was way too like slippery for that, and I just felt like concealer just got all over the place, and then powder almost started separating on top of it just because it was so heavy. And that was me applying like a very little amount underneath people's eye too. In my personal opinion, I would just use it as a night cream for underneath your eyes because you cannot be using that as a makeup artist. Like, it does not make sense. So yeah, that is one of the products that I regret buying for my makeup kit, and I never have repurchased it since then. I think I ended up throwing away like almost all of it because I'd never used it. Like, the next thing I want to go over is high-end mascaras. Not specific brands or a specific mascara. Just buying high-end mascaras for you as a makeup artist does not make sense. This is the only category that I'm going to talk about that I think you guys actually should all employ. Mascaras is one of those things that you probably run out of like maybe once every couple of weeks if you are doing clients consistently. So for the amount of times that you switch out mascara throughout the year, it is not worth buying high-end mascaras. And also think about the fact that you can't use the physical applicators on people, and that is the whole entire reason that you would get a high-end mascara. So I usually use all drugstore mascaras inside of my kit, and also the majority of mascaras that are actually high-end are not waterproof, which I don't understand. Now I'm going to go on to the eyeshadows category, and I kind of want to touch on 2 different things. So number 1, I regret any of the quads that I ever tried to put inside of my kit. There's one point in time where I bought a whole bunch of Charlotte Tilbury quads. Now, Charlotte Tilbury's eyeshadows are actually fantastic. Like, I'm not knocking the formula. I'm not knocking Charlotte Tilbury as a brand. I'm saying that in general, quads do not really make sense inside of a kit, especially for me, because I personally like to reach for palettes. Like, I like to reach for full palettes where I can see all the colors that I have, and I don't have to really think about which quad I'm picking up necessarily. So because of that, I was never reaching for them inside of my kit. Like, it just never occurred to me. And if I'm not using products, I want to get them out of my kit so they don't expire. So that is what my opinion is about eyeshadow quads. Like, I just personally never use them. Next thing I want to go on to is glitter body sprays. So we all got, I think, hyped into the trend where body highlighting was like a huge huge thing. I do like body highlight my brides if they ask me to, but I will carry around the Melanie Mills Hollywood Body Gleams, and that's what I have for that personally. But they more so have like a sheen to your skin. They don't really have any glitter or any like pigments inside of them or anything. And I really like those a lot. And they also do dry down completely waterproof, so they don't transfer onto a bride's white dress or anything. I used to carry 2 different glitter body sprays for some reason because I thought that it would be more efficient to just spray glitter on somebody. It was a mistake. That glitter got all over the place, guys. I found a really cheap one from Physicians Formula. It was some sort of like gold glitter body spray or something. Like I tried that at one point in time, but it got really annoying because then the sprayer would get clogged from the glitter inside of it. Like it was actually chunks of glitter. Like it was bad. And then I decided to invest in a more high-end solution. So when MAC came out with their Gleam or Glow Fix Plus or something, I invested in that. But it was so annoying because then you always had to shake that thing and then it never dried down. Definitely more of a trendy thing that I kind of got myself roped into at one point in time, but I carried around those 2 glitter sprays for a really long time inside of my kit. And in these 6 months that I had them, I never used them that much just because it was really messy and you couldn't control where they went. Let's see. What do I want to say next? Ooh, the Charlotte Tilbury pressed powders and also the MAC Studio Fix powders too. I did have both of these inside of my kit at one point in time, and I don't want you to again think that I'm coming after like these specific products. Like I don't have an issue with the Charlotte Tilbury powders or the MAC powders specifically. I just don't really like carrying around very many like pressed powders because I don't personally use very many pressed powders that often. I just don't feel like they lock in your makeup as well as like loose powders. Pressed powder, you take it with a little fluffy brush and then you kind of dust it on the face, but it doesn't really lock anything in. It more so just kind of sets things. For longevity purposes, I think that loose powder does 100% of a better job. I just felt like I wasn't really getting much use out of any of the pressed powders that I had inside of my kit. I understand that loose powders are a little bit more messy than compacts. Like I totally get that, but to me, just because of the fact that they lock in makeup a lot better, that's the reason I use them over pressed powders. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is the Danessa Myricks lipstick palettes. I used to have the Nudist palette, which is, as you can tell, like all neutral kind of colors. I have an issue with the formulation, not the colors. I thought that I liked them when I bought them originally, but that formulation is so thick. Like it's so thick and it's so heavy, weirdly like uncomfortable on your lips. They're kind of almost like lip lacquers. Like that's kind of the best comparison I think that I would have to them. It was a very strange formulation. I still have like remnants of them going on, but I'm officially going to get rid of those because I do not like the formulation personally. Okay, so now I'm moving on to like the tools or the cases that I used to have in the past that I regret purchasing. I regret purchasing all of the beauty blenders that I did for my kit. And I'm talking not about the cheap like blender sponges that you get. I'm talking about like the $20 beauty blender sponges, thinking that they would be really ideal for my clients and having them in my kit. Sponges are super unhygienic to use inside of your makeup kit. And you should not be reusing those on people because you cannot get them 100% clean. So yeah, I removed all of those from my kit and ended up throwing all of them away. And that was a complete waste. Please do not waste your money on them, especially buying the $20 ones. Like it does not make sense. Yeah, that is one of the things I majorly regret buying for my makeup kit. Next is the brush belt that I first bought for my makeup kit. Okay, so I got this brush belt off of Amazon. I bought it for like $12, but now I think it's like $35 or something stupid like that. The only reason why I bought a brush belt instead of buying like a brush bag at first is because I was used to working with a brush belt at MAC. Like it was one that you just either slung over your shoulder or you could clip it to your waist. So I was just kind of used to automatically doing makeup applications with a brush belt attached to my waist. So that's what I decided to purchase for my freelance career. I hated how small that thing was. Like I could not fit more than 4 or 5 sets of brushes inside of my brush belt. And I don't like to clean my brushes on site. Not only does it waste time, but you can't also like 100% get all those brushes clean just by spot cleaning them. I like to have clean sets for each person. So because of that, I sometimes had to take extra brushes with me if I had any more than 4 or 5 people that I did on site. And I had to bring a whole entire separate bag with me with extra brush sets, which kind of defeated the point of me having a brush belt. So yeah, that is the reason why I kind of regret buying that brush belt, just because it did not hold the amount of brushes that I needed it to. And now I have my Kitco Brush Buddy, and that thing holds like 12 sets of brushes, so I'm like 100% covered for any job that I have. Then the last thing I want to talk about is something that I did cover in my last video, and that is the rolling train case that I had. Basically like this huge train case that was on wheels, had a handle like a suitcase, you could roll it around. The only problem was it was super super heavy. Like I think that thing weighed like, I want to say maybe like 10 pounds on its own. You could unhook the belt buckles at the top of it and the lid flipped up. Then there was this storage compartment that was just hollow that you could store any things you want inside of it. If you went down to the bottom, just had like these drawers inside of it that were compartments that you could store your makeup into. It seems like it'd be very handy, and I think that anybody who works out of like a studio or somewhere where you're not like trying to shove it in and out of cars or like transport it anywhere, then that would be very ideal to have. I just work out of my in-home studio, so I majority of the time will travel to other people, and I need things to be as portable as possible, and that was too heavy. It was too cumbersome. Like I couldn't really travel with it or take it in and out of my car very easily. Like it was just very bulky. So I switched to probably about 5 other different makeup cases. I made a whole entire video over which makeup bags I've had and why I decided to get rid of them. So if you guys haven't seen that video, I'll go ahead and link that up above here for you guys. I am 100% happy with the kit that I have now, which is the last one that I covered in that video, but I do highly regret buying a rolling train case like that. So yeah, that is pretty much about it for this video. If you guys did enjoy this video, definitely go ahead and give me a big thumbs up in the video, as well as also subscribing down to my channel. I will be uploading only one more video for Kitmas, so if you guys are really excited for that one and want to get notified of when I post that, turn on those notifications. And as always, I hope you guys are having an absolutely fantastic day, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. All right, bye.